Hello, Superset Maniacs, and welcome back to my channel. This is not Supersetman, but this is a Supersetman type video. Actually, he's the one that set it up. You can see the little watermark floating around. I'm not sure why they call it a watermark. But it is floating around, and you can see the top 5 at the Arnold Classics event going through their posing routines or their mandatories. But I see Hadi Choopan at the end. This was the Supersetman challenge set down to me as well as several other YouTube channels. And you guys can go search and find who they are. And we're all going to give our opinion on if Hadi Choopan would have won, where he would have placed at the Arnold Classic. But you know what? This doubles as a good comparison between Samson and Andrew Jack there. And we have Brandon Curry, who a lot of people said he was maybe robbed at the Arnold Classic. But having said that, guys, let's not waste any more time. Let us go through the shots here, beginning with the front double. You can see they all execute their pose. They get into their shot. Ooh, Andrew Jack looks good. Samson looks a little bit, I don't want to call it flat, but his muscles just don't seem to be popping like Andrew Jack. Now, I'm going to spoil you guys a little bit here. And I'm not going to do this with all the poses, but just for this first one, to get a glimpse of the close-up condition of these guys, we'll have a look at these close-up shots. And, ooh, I like these pictures. Hadi Choopan. Wow. He wasn't hitting the vacuum, but he is in this instance. And he sure does look good. Lower half, he looks pretty dominant too. Andrew Jack, I like the pop, the separation, the wow. But stand him next to Samson Dauda. Dauda just seems to be thicker, more built like a bodybuilder, like an open class bodybuilder. But, you know, aesthetics, condition, they count. And I just can't take my eyes away from the Andrew Jack and Samson Dauda comparison, because they're both so tall. Structurally speaking, very similar. Jeez Louise, Derek and Brandon Curry, they seem to be having their own little battle over in the corner. And that's actually a very close matchup. Jeez Louise. I wouldn't call you a fool if you said Brandon is beating Derek in that front double. But again, guys, Hadi Choopan seems to be the dominant man in terms of just proportions. No, he's not the biggest horse out here, but he's probably the most perfect. Go to the next shot here. I like these little transitions. Again, guys, brought to you by the Supersetman. Freeze frame it there. Little bit difficult to see here. Silhouette-wise, Hadi Choopan. You have Samson Dauda. He's huge. Derek doesn't seem to have that separation like several of the other dudes. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to do this with all the poses, and I'm not. But again, let's have a look at the closer up shots here. And Andrew Jack versus Samson, it really is a good comparison, but guys, I wouldn't go out and say Andrew Jack was robbed against Samson Dauda. Look at the lats. You have to take a sharp look at that. Samson's huge. His silhouette, the wheels, even the delts there, you can see the framework of the delts, even that a little unsymmetrical. Now you go venture around here. We have Hadi Choopan. Again, very, very strong performance by him. Derek, not the separation that I'd like to see in the midsection, the chest perhaps. And again, we're comparing him with the best of the best here. Hadi. Things of that nature, and Brandon Curry also looks very good. So this is actually quite a close one. We have perhaps Hadi winning coming out of the front shots. Now we go to the Supersetman transitions. Freeze frame there. Wow. Look at the size of Samson Dauda in the center. They put him in the center for a reason. Brandon Curry, he's perfectly built. He's the most perfectly built one. But he doesn't have the separation in the lower half, nor the size of Derek or Samson or even Andrew Jack. Well, he has maybe the size beating him in that aspect, but geez Louise, Andrew Jack, good separation in the wheels, but compare him with a guy with a similar structure and more mounds of muscle. And no, he's not going to win. Is he beating the likes of Derek, Hadi, Brandon? Probably not. Probably not. But having said that, Hadi Choopan, he's not my favorite in this one. And I'll be honest. Sometimes I take criticism for that, but I think you guys are siding towards me not liking that square delt. It's square. It's not supposed to be square. It's supposed to be round, like a bowling ball. Just like Andrew Jack's. So am I saying Andrew Jack is beating Hadi Choopan in the side chest? I wouldn't say that. I'm marking it down that way, though. Go to the transitional, Supersetman transitional back shot. Now here, freeze frame, here's where Andrew Jack he takes a back seat to Samson Dauda, guys. I've seen a lot of comparisons, and it is a great comparison. But when you look at a close-up shot, guys, the back width, the V-taper itself, and most importantly, the deep condition. The condition of Samson Dauda is in a different level altogether than Andrew Jack. Now, the two, I don't want to say the weaker ones, but the least best two back shots are going to be Andrew Jack and Brandon Curry. In which case, I'm tempted to side with Brandon Curry. Lats, more prominent. Look at the trap difference. He's not closing them arms up. This is the only picture I could find, though, guys. Condition. Look at the lower half condition. More peeled. More shredded to the diced. Andrew Jack, he's just huge. He's massive. And his condition doesn't suck, guys. You know, he was in lineups with Derek Lunsford, things of that nature. So you have to take all that into consideration. But still, well, the calves. Look at the calves. Definitely small for Brandon. And pretty swelled up for Andrew Jack. Kudos on the calves. Seen a couple of nasty comments. You guys don't know. But still, condition-wise, guys, Curry, I don't know. Maybe he should have placed a little higher. We'll decide that after. Now, go back to the lineup here. So, actually, I know I said I wasn't going to do this with all the shots, but most of them I have. Here is the top three in the rear double by. And I can see why Samson Dauda is the best man out of these three. If condition was all the same, which it's not, Derek has the most peeled level of condition here. But he's maybe the least in the way of size, at least in the lower half. Hadi Choopan's rear double never transitioned as well as his lat, as we'll see. But having said that, Samson Dauda, geez Louise, he sure done look good, doesn't he? But Derek, he sure is peeled. Hadi may be a good balance of the two, but I don't know. Back for back, I am just constantly going towards Samson, and he has the calves. Look at that. Out of the three, he's making the other guys look like they have dandelion spores, especially Hadi. But anyway, close. Now, bring back the video footage. Brought to you by the Supersetman. Alright, they're going to pull a little Christmas tree here, and I didn't freeze frame it or anything like that. You can see some softer glutes for some guys. Andrew Jack. And some ripped glutes for other guys. Brandon Curry, pretty good. Freeze frame for the back lat. And right out of the chute, Hadi Choopan. Look at that lat spread. Thick lats, unbelievable. Now, in terms of the last two guys, like I said, in the back double by, it's going to be Andrew Jack and Brandon Curry. With all due respect to these men, Brandon, you're probably going to side with him due to the unsymmetrical lats for Andrew Jack, and we've seen that in that front lat spread. So something definitely going on there, if you know what I'm saying, for sure. And it does not hurt Brandon Curry's case for maybe should have placed ahead of Andrew Jack, considering the condition. Maybe all of a sudden the judges are looking at the calves. Who knows? So like last time, here is the top three. I think it's an easy decision here. I think Hadi Choopan, he has pretty good condition. Now that I'm looking around here, Derek could get an advantage over Hadi Choopan. Maybe. Depends on what's more important to the judges. That raw condition looks like it hurts. Derek, those grill marks on your bum. But Hadi's so thick in the lats, and now that I'm looking, Samson Dauda, he has an argument for a win in this. Look at the size of him. And he has those calves. Dandelion spores. Little slivers, just little slips of calves. But having said that, I can't wait to hear the other YouTube channels' decision making on some of these shots. Back to the video footage. What poses next? I know I do the abs and thigh after the two back, but oh yes, the side tricep. And freeze frame in there. And another situation where I probably take heat for not liking Hadi Choopan all that much in this pose. Andrew jacked. He looks good. He has a big tricep and everything, but his muscles are all jiggity janked. Know what I'm saying? They definitely look a little jiggity janked. Say it at home. It's satisfying. Jiggity janked, I mean. Not sing. Not everybody can say that. Now, and I know. We're almost at the end, and I've done it for almost every shot. Here's the clear shots. I'm not going to do it for all of them, though. I'm telling you right now. I won't do the abs and thigh. I refuse. Well, maybe just for a second, but having said that, Andrew jacked. The pop, the wow on his muscles, they look pretty good. And going off these pictures, if he said jacked with his tongue there is beating Samson, I probably wouldn't call you wrong. And when you're looking up the lineups, things of that nature, Samson's just too big. He's massive. So he is probably getting first prize in this, with Hadi Choopan battling it out with Derek as usual. Brandon Curry looks good in this. He looks very aesthetically pleasing. Not bad at all. But, I mean, so is Samson, and he's 10 times bigger. Not really 10 times. That would be like David versus Goliath, or one of them stories there. But anyway, foolishness. Close in a lot of shots between a couple of these dudes. And the abs and thigh. They're not jiving. They're all, to reuse my phrase, they're jiggity janked. So since they're not jiving, and I know I said I wasn't gonna, here's a couple of close-up shots of Samson and Derek Lunsford. In my opinion, these two dudes are last in line. In this instance, I would give it to Samson Dauda. When they were calling them back out, pose after pose, then I was siding towards Derek Lunsford. But this is just a picture comparison, or video comparison also. And Samson, he'd beat Derek in the abs and thigh. I'd say Brandon Curry is beating both of those two dudes. Very aesthetically pleasing. This was always a good shot for him. A little more ab separation, and he would have been up there with your Sean Rays and Lee Priests, things of that nature. But having said that, this is your easy top two. And it's actually quite a little battle. Most would say Andrew jacked is beating Hadi Choopan in the abs and thigh, but I don't know. Look at the quads, guys. Look at the deep, rich, creamery butter abs of Hadi Choopan. Unbelievable. This man is unbelievable. So, as we transition into the final pose, we once again see these guys not posing at the same. You run it through again. Well, there's a couple of little, they keep switching. So freeze frame it there, I guess. But having said that, like I often say, Brandon's hitting a crab position, the other guy's hitting a hands clasped. I won't judge it. I refuse to judge it. It's two different poses, so I can't. I won't. Punks like you are a dime a dozen. That's what they used to tell me. Punks like you are a dime a dozen. So, of course, we have the clearer shots. What was the one pose that I didn't do this with? But having said that, guys, the other YouTube channels are going to give their firm opinions on it, valued opinions on it, so I wanted to give myself the best advantage here. They all look good. Even Andrew Jacked with those grey big new delts he has. And that tongue. It's a little bit much. Derek might not be the strongest hoss in this lineup. In this shot, I should suggest, Hadi Choopan looks very good. Samson Dauda looks like a stud. And I'll be honest, Andrew Jacked, he is more than a match for Samson Dauda in a couple of shots in the front, in the upper body. So, I mean, you got to pad it up pretty good. The wheels, the back, the condition. Samson's just way too much. I think the closer matchup, and definitely worthy of some discussions, would be Andrew Jacked versus Brandon Curry. Brandon Curry, he is more complete, probably more conditioned. He wasn't hauling that grey big appendage out. But all due seriousness, I wouldn't put Derek ahead of either of those two dudes in the most muscular. Just not my favorite shot for him. Hadi Choopan, he's a beast. It's going to be between him and Samson, with Brandon Curry probably behind both of them. And then it's a toss-up between Derek and Tongue Boy. But anyway, I should have called him Muscle Boy. That's what Skeletor used to call He-Man. Come on, He-Man. Muscle Boy. Skeletor was pretty jacked too, though, was he not? Either way, the results of this one they're kind of funny, actually. In first place, a clear first is Hadi Choopan. And in second place was actually Samson Dauda, which was funny, because one-on-one, didn't I have him beating Derek Lunsford? And Derek, of course, takes third place with Brandon Curry in fourth, and poor Andrew Jacked in fifth place. Keep in mind, I scored these just with the pictures, the video footage, brought to you by Supersetman, things of that nature, pose for pose. But I also added in, just like it was a pose, so the least in line gets 5 points, first in line gets 1 point, and the least amount of points wins. I did the exact same thing with conditioning, the overall condition. So Hadi Choopan, him and Derek Lunsford are the most conditioned, with Samson Dauda behind them. And the way I see it, Brandon Curry was overall more conditioned than Andrew Jacked. So, just my opinion, guys. Not saying Brandon Curry was robbed. I'm not saying Samson Dauda was robbed. Things of that nature. When it's one-on-one, which it was, between Samson and Derek, it becomes a whole different ball game. They bring them out for pose after pose. And at one instance, Samson, he cracked. He started to sweat. So, anyway, that all makes a big difference, guys. You know, one guy can't hold the poses as much. Hadi Choopan, I guess if he was at the Arnold's Classic Spillet and he brought this package, he would be the 2025 Arnold Classic champion as well. Hit thumbs up on the video. Go over to Supersetman's channel. Watch his video. Go find the other ones on YouTube. Out there in YouTube land, I should suggest. Have a nice one, fellers.